audiences everywhere were captivated by the humor and heart of Ice Age. Now, 20th Century Fox and Blue Sky Studios are delighted to bring you Ice Age: The Meltdown.
The ice is melting!
Manny, Sid, Diego, and Scrat are back and joined by a herd of new characters as they embark on their biggest adventure ever.
The great thing about doing a sequel is that we get to bring all our favorite characters back.
One big happy family.
It's all about respect.
Boo.
It's still the Ice Age, but this time it's a melting world. Beginning, it's like a tropical paradise for our animals. They're having a ball in the water parks. They're enjoying themselves in the sun.
This global warming is killing me.
This is too hot. The Ice Age is too cold. What would it take to make you happy?
This mine.
There's nothing wrong with this world. That is until they discover that this melting world also is bringing some dire consequences.
The whole valley is about to be flooded by the water that's melting from the glaciers, and they have to get out of it as fast as possible. So that's the setup of the bigger danger.
Because in 3 days' time, it's gonna hit the geyser fields. Boom!
Ooh, he must have been a real pleasure to have in class.
That's how I think a successful sequel is done. You know, these guys can just take them into a different place and you get to know more about them.
They're still the dysfunctional family. They all have their issues, and working together is hard.
If these sizzles continue, clap your hands. If these
Sid, I'm gonna fall on you again, and this time I will kill you.
Okay, someone doesn't like the classics.
For Manny, for example, is like the fact that he might be the last mammoth on Earth, and nobody's seen other mammoths around, so he might go extinct.
Now, in Ice Age 1, he was mourning over the loss of his family, and I guess he's been kind of lonely ever since then, and there's a potential love interest for Manny in this movie.
Mammoths?
I knew I couldn't be the last one. I felt it in my gut.
Sorry.
Diego now dealing with a secret of his own, in that he is afraid of the water and can't swim.
I didn't know you better, Diego. I think you were afraid of the water. Okay, good thing I know you better.
They have all these other people now coming in, these big stars, but I'm sure everybody wants to go to see it. It's the same old thing. It's me. It's really, it could be called Diego, pretty much. You don't really need the other characters, just as sort of straight men to set me up, you know?
Look, I opened my camp. Campo del Cid. It means Camp of Sid.
Congratulations. You're now an idiot in 2 languages.
Sid's story in this movie is that he's just looking for respect. He wants to be an equal member of the herd. He made this herd. He feels he's entitled.
We got to get over your fear to help the group. It's threesome. It's all about the threesome and just a sloth. So it's like, you know, I need a little respect here too, guys. You know, I need to be taken seriously and as an important part of the food chain.
One thing I learned making Ice Age is that it's really the characters that people are after in the movies. They want to identify with somebody and see them go through something. And they want to enjoy the personality on the screen there. They want to relate to it.
The film has all of the wonderful humor and emotion of the first film, but it also has a big adventure.
That every time we make a new movie, the challenges are greater, and we just keep pushing for more.
Living in a melting world, buddy. You're gonna have to face your fear sooner or later.
The gang wouldn't be complete without everyone's favorite, Scrat. And he's back, facing even more overwhelming obstacles in the pursuit of his beloved acorn.
Scrat is back. He comes back with the essence of the character that we created. Sort of like the character that's always looking for his nut, and he never gets it.
Everybody relates to the underdog in Scrat. Everyone relates to losing. And if there's one thing that people love to do, it's watch somebody else lose in a funny way. You know, if that's what pratfalls and slapstick are all about, you know. They didn't see it coming, but I did. And that's, I think, why people love the scrap.
You got 65 guys that are trying to learn one character, so, you know, you have to develop libraries of different facial expressions for him, and the way he stands, the way he moves, you know, like a twitch here or a nose sniff here. The character, when you first load him in, he comes in pretty much like this, which is pretty default, arms out, straight, no personality. And then if we go to like the face, I have like these icons over here that'll be different kind of expressions, like, you know, worry or sad, tail poses, depending on how he's feeling. The shot I'm working on now is Scrap does karate. He's basically taking on, I want to say like 25 piranhas on one of his acorn. So like, I'll show like the first shot to the director, you know, just getting your ideas out there. And then I show this to the director, and he's like, it looks cool, but you know, let's speed it up, let's make it more intense. And instead of this dance at the end, let him, you know, jump up and then start to walk away confident. And by the way, let's just flip the whole thing on the other side. So I'm like, okay. So I'll reblock out some ideas. I speed it up much faster now. And now I see that, oh, this guy has his acorn, so he feels confident and walks away.
Joining Manny, Sid, Diego, and Scrat on their adventure are a cast of hilarious new characters. From land, sea, and air, our heroes cross paths with some of Ice Age's most memorable creatures.
We have fun new characters that will play great against our main before ones.
Let's play Pikachu and the Mammoth!
We have Ellie, which is our female lead in this, and Manny's love interest.
Well, shave me down and call me a mole rat. You found another mammoth.
Where? Wait a minute, I thought mammoths were extinct.
What are you looking at me for?
Ellie is very sweet, a bit confused. Somewhere along the way has designs that she's a possum.
I'm not a mammoth, I'm a possum.
Right, good one.
This guy giving you trouble, sis? Sis?
We have the Possum Brothers, which is Crash and Eddie, and they were like, they look twins.
Okay, I'm going in. Sid. Why? Nice miss.
Crash and Eddie are these two total crazy daredevils.
I studied the possums. Then after a while, I become one with the possum.
When the second movie came along with Meltdown, we had all this experience behind us, and we knew what the look of the film was. And we were able to just jump in and say, what kind of characters can we do now? You know, what really fun things did we not get a chance to include in the first one? But I think we have something like 20 new characters.
Through its stencil design and sturdy construction, you'll have plenty of air for eons to come. Of course, results may vary.
We have the villains. They are thought out in the process of the melting down, and now they're back after many years of being frozen.
Two villains are really kind of crazy, highly detailed, a lot of spikes and scales, kind of like dinosaurs, sort of, dinosaur fish, more alligator-y like, and that sort of thing. Just tons and tons of detail.
Along the way, we were working on introducing characters similar to the first movie where we had like dodos, the female sloths, and we had like the rhinos. In this movie, we're going to try to bring some new characters throughout the journey.
We got a Overton Clifton on the far right lane. Traffic backed up as far as the eye can see.
Ooh, and it looks like there might be a fatality.
I call the dark beat.
The process of bringing the characters to life begins the old-fashioned way, with paper and pencil.
It does begin the way 2D animation begins, and that's on paper. And my job is to sit there and design characters, and I do all of that on paper. I'm probably the most technically challenged person in the building. They're all pinned to a board, and after several meetings, the director will decide on one design.
Once the characters have been created on paper, they go to the model department, where they are sculpted and make the leap from 2D to 3D.
Peter DeSep does the character designs, and then after they're approved by the director, then we enlarge it to the size of what the sculpture will look like. Then from there, we actually start blocking down the clay, and we'll caliper off of the drawing to the clay. And then from there, we meet with Carlos. Then there's small modeling tweaks that happen from there. Eyes bigger, nose smaller, mouth wider. Then we have 2 more days to work on it, and then from there is final approval.
Having made the leap from drawing to sculpture, now our characters enter the world of lasers and scanners. This is where artistry meets high tech.
So we have the final maquette, and we're going to scan it. We're using this Pohemus handheld scanner. It's all triangulated in 3D space. It shows up in the computer. So in short, what I'm doing is doing multiple passes that end up getting all stitched together in the computer.
Once the model is scanned into the computer, the artists get to work creating rigging, a virtual skeleton of the character, allowing it to have a full range of movement.
So we have to do all the setup to get it to move, basically. And we build a skeleton for each character, and then apply different components to set it up so that the animators have control over each area of the rig.
And I provide them with drawings of how I think that character would move, and especially facial drawings that show the extremes and the limits of expression.
Behind the crazy characters of Ice Age: The Meltdown are some creative characters, the animators. Before they bring our heroes to life, the animators at Blue Sky Studios become them.
After the characters get digitized in the computer, we take it here in animation and we start to think about what we need to do for the scene. We need to come up with some ideas. When we start a sequence of the movie, it's the supervisor and the director and all the animators sitting in a room and watch the story reel. And Carlos will go through the story reel, go through every shot and describe what he's thinking he wants it to be and what emotion it should be portraying. And then they go back to the desk and I'll throw out some ideas and then show it to the director.
Now, this is our costuming model, designed for the animals who rather breathe underwater than not breathe at all.
An animator shoots reference all the time for every character. It's the newer characters that we're trying to figure out, like Crash and Eddie and Ellie and a couple other characters in the film. But we record ourselves always for doing a shot, just to get the best acting, natural feel to it.
Does the girl have a breathing problem? That would make him more relatable.
Well, what ends up happening is after we finish recording it, we hook it up to just a Mac or computer, and we bring it in, and we make a little QuickTime that we can actually load onto our machine as we're animating the shot. We can have it in the corner of the window just to look at it and say, oh, this is what ideas. But when it comes down to when you start animating, you're just using it as ideas, as reference. And you'll find the character as you're posing them out that, oh, I could do this, but maybe the character might not be able to have that range of motion. So we limit it, but we use it as an inspiration.
Now that's what I call respect.
Cutting-edge technology and artistry allowed the animators of Ice Age to create astonishingly lifelike fur for the main characters. Now, in Ice Age: The Meltdown, Blue Sky Studios carries on that tradition of excellence with even more realistic-looking fur and water. Lots and lots of water.
That's the thing for me with a sequel is that the fact that you want to advance technology, you want to advance the plot, but you don't want to lose the essence of the first movie. You want to keep the characters the same way, emotionally connected, and you want to create new arcs, but you want to So you need to see how far you go with the technology without like moving too far away from what people loved and what we loved about the first movie. For example, we created a brand new technology for fur for all the characters. Now the fur has character, like he can blow with the wind, he can get wet, so that is a great feature now.
For the returning characters like Sid and Diego and Manny and Scrat, we've got to, what we did was initially we went into the old files and we generated this massive data which had all the information about those cards that we drew, and we're using that old technology to sort of give us a starting point with the new hair so it looks the same. So when you see Sid, you recognize him, that's Sid. He's got the same sort of like scraggly hairs and that kind of stuff.
In general, all of the characters' fur is just totally dry and regular, and it'll just move based on that, but I can add things like wind and just general turbulence directions so that when they're on top of like the peak, I can just take and give a nice little swirl to it so it feels more like they're in the actual atmosphere.
Now let's move it before the ground falls out from under our feet.
I thought that guy was supposed to be Charlie.
I'm not bad. It's this fur. It makes me look big.
The Meltdown also takes advantage of technological advances that the team has made at Blue Sky. A big part of this film is water, and water is one of the most challenging aspects of CG animation, especially when water interacts with characters.
Tremendous amounts of water, floods, rapids, this incredibly effects-intensive movie. You know, I have two people in my group that are specialists in fluid dynamics, and they're working on all of the software, and there's an entire effects group that's developing techniques to utilize this and set it up for the movie, and they're just doing an extraordinary job.
Water tends to be very slow to render, for one thing. It's very difficult to animate and to control. And that can be very difficult, especially when you have to. You don't want to see a character jump in the water and be distracted by, some splash that doesn't look right or doesn't feel right. We have these sort of directable techniques that let us get a lot of control over the animation. And that's huge for us because it gives us a real advantage so that we can match the performance of the character. We can really sell the sense of peril. We can actually pull the splashes and create an actual shape. So if a character comes and hits the water at an angle, we can really preference the splash to go sort of in an opposite direction.
Same way the technology evolves, creatively we'll all evolve too. So the challenges are higher, the challenges are greater, and the technology gets better, and we get better stuff in the movie.
Can we slow down a little? I'm dying here. I wish I knew what they were thinking.
Beating at the heart of Ice Age: The Meltdown is its music, and at the heart of the music is wildly creative, acclaimed composer John Powell.
Our composer, John Powell, who did the music on Robots, is just brilliant, and his music just evokes all kinds of emotions and the lightness and the adventure, the action. He's just so versatile.
I got about 98, I think. Strings, woods, brass. I've done the percussion separately, and then in the evening we're going to have just brass. So I write themes at a piano, then I move over to the keyboard, which is basically just a load of G5s. Actually, nowadays it's not even samplers; it's just 4 G5 computers with a load of sounds in them. And start building it up layer by layer to just, to fully inform everybody what it's going to sound like. I was given a freedom to sort of create a unique score, and I gave this film a score that was right for every moment of it, and yet at the same time sort of honoured the original. If you come out humming the tunes, then I've done my job.
Manny, Sid, Diego, and Scrat this spring for a new adventure that's wetter,
It's a lot of water.
wilder,
Bad Mammal Camel.
and a few degrees warmer.
You think she's the girl for me?
Oh yeah, she's tons of fun, and you're no fun at all. She completes you.
Ice Age: The Meltdown.